Hi, hello, my name is Will, also known as Axolotl Talks, and today I'll be playing Die of Death. Die of Death is an asymmetrical retro-style horror game created by Sauce510 that has a lot of similarities to other games like Forsaken. The game focuses on a lot of teamwork and or strategizing no matter what side you're on, and every single moment of the game is like a curveball on steroids. Anyways, I'm done with the intro, now to the... Before the game talk starts, I'll be discussing about the format of these kind of videos a bit more. After over 500 hours of Tankfish, I realized that all my videos is just the gameplay part because I don't map out any of them, and I didn't divide them as much as I needed/wanted. I'll be doing that more to make the video more divided and or orderly, and back to the video. If you have played any survivor versus killer games or have survived a psychopath that you accidentally pissed off, this game will be a cakewalk. But if you haven't, let me walk you through this topsy-turvy battlefield. There are two roles, the civilian and the killer. As a civilian, your goal is to survive by any means necessary. When the match starts, you get 3 cards as a civilian, and you can choose which one that fits your playstyles the most. I'll get into that in a moment. Depending on the killer, you and your team's playstyle will differ since some killers are better at clearing crowds, while some are heavily reliant on targeting lonely people. The other role is the killer, which is the role that everyone wants to get. There are 4 killers in the game and I'll briefly go over all of them later on. After a match, you'll get some currency, no matter if you die or live, to buy better killers or skins that you can flex on your imaginary friends. Like I said before, civilian gets a card to decide their 2 abilities. I will try to list them as fast as possible because the killer side of the game is really long. Adrenaline gives you a speed buff for 6 seconds but makes you exhausted afterwards. Banana peel make the floor more dangerous for the killer, especially Artfuls on LMS. Block let you parry certain abilities. If successful, you live a bit longer. If you fail, you'll probably die. Bonus pad, put down a tile that gives civilians speed if they step on it. Downside is that they have less HP. Caretaker, kill whatever that is in front of you unless it's a killer. Also has less HP for reasons. Cloak, just gives you invis but has an end like when it expires. Dash, you just move forward really quickly. It consumes some stamina, so you have to be careful with that. Hot dog, let you self-heal and get some extra max HP at the cost of your stamina. Punch, retaliate at the killer, extremely punishing for both you and the killer if you hit or miss respectively. Revolver, same as punch but much longer range and higher cooldown. Also, you have to manually reload your gun. Small disadvantage is that they have less stamina too. Taunt, annoy the killer and make them legally blind while getting damage immunity. If you fail, you become the laughingstock. Care pad, gets less HP for a pad that heals people. Love shot, revolver but just with lifesteal and less HP and stamina. Jesus Christ, today's gonna be a long day. Killers, let's get into it. Pursuer, an average guy who is also an apex predator according to the game's lore, who wants to guide a woman home safely. He has 2 abilities that help him do what he do best and 1 attack for punishing. Overall, pretty balanced and a great killer to use in all scenarios. However, they have a lack of range, so you can just counter them by staying away from him. Artful, a French magician. This character heavily relies on the map and your understanding. All of their ability goes toward trapping people and require a lot of game knowledge and quick thinking to use. Depending on the map, Artful could be worthless or just completely broken. Killdroid, ChatGPT if it had free will and had access to a killer machine. The main goal is to herd civilians into a single area, then use your M1 and become the next Chernobyl by dealing area damage to everyone. Pretty fun to play if you like Demo Man or Soldier from TF2. Be careful though, his passive lets you go to off-limits areas which can sometimes cause an accidental death. Harken, the quiet kid when they have enough. You have 2 forms. One is the default one, which sucks, and the other one is the awakened one. I don't know what it's called, which is the embodiment of God. You get into your second form when you hit someone, hit yourself, or the civilian use certain abilities. Be careful when playing with this character because its HP is the equivalent of a toddler, and using Immolate too many times will get you punished. Badware. I don't know what to talk about this character. I've never seen or played this character. And the only thing I know is you stack PCs for speed and newly teleport. You might think this element is just too small to be considered a change in gameplay, but it does a lot of things. Some maps are more open than others, giving Artful players a fat middle finger and a firm handshake to Badware or Harken players, and the opposite can be said for other maps. As I have addressed before, some maps have a lot of loopholes that lets Killdroid go outside the map and make the reset character, so those should be put into account too. Additionally, some maps have hazard that can kill civilians or heavily damage killers if they're not careful. Some of the maps even have interactable obstacles like glass that you can break to flabbergast people who are new to the game. Skin and emotes categorized into this section, they're purely used for entertainment and or a way to spice things up a bit. These aspects don't matter much at all, I think, because they only change your chase themes or what you look like, so okay. Just a small element that makes the game unrepetitive. Usually there are only the normal ones, but special rounds may sometimes happen, so I'll be talking about those. Double Trouble. There are 2 killers instead of 1, both killer deals less damage and all civilians have more stamina. 1 bounce, instead of a killer versus a whole lobby of civilians, it's 1 civilian versus a whole lobby of killers. Evil Scary. Baldy if he was a black ball that kills civilians and heavily damaged killers. Gunslinger. Every civilian chose violence and now the killer is the one getting killed. Nation. A killer free-for-all. The lower part of this game is pretty long, so instead I'll just be listing the ones that I like. Pursuer. He is male and the female version of him is the same but with orange eyes and teeth. He can do a backflip. He refuses to swim and doesn't know how to. If he fell or was dropped into a pool of water, he'd awkwardly and aggressively flail his way back to land as soon as possible to avoid drowning. This is because of a traumatic experience from when he was a child. Artful. Artful is good at golf. Artful has a pet goldfish named Goldie that he released into a local park because he was on the run from the police. Artful can only swim with his pool floaties. Artful is literally just a civilian if he unwears his costume. Artful likes math. Artful has 2 other older brothers. Harken. Harken is female. Harken is not evil, she's only getting rid of the noise that could potentially bring similar beings as her, which may or may not kill her, to this place. Harken can understand civilians and can communicate with sign language or writing. Harken is made out of sand. Harken can cry and her tears are golden. Harken can turn into glass and it's very painful during the process. Killdroid. Despite not having fears, he's weak to water and evil scary. Killdroid is extremely petty. Killdroid is also woke. They also accept pets and hugs. Killdroid genders his target correctly. Killdroid can drive cars and fly jets. Badware. If Badware was a human, their favorite food would be spaghetti. The red and green buttons on the side of Badware's head can make a silly noise when pressed. What noise does it make? I don't know. I haven't got any recordings of that, and the game haven't actually leaked anything about it, so deal with it. Badware's favorite number sequence is... what is this? I'm just gonna paste that on screen. Badware can in fact run Doom. Badware would be ridiculously good at football. Not gonna lie, talking about nudes, sweats, and miscellaneous is kind of boring and is pretty much the same as all communities, so this part will be skipped unless there's something notable to talk about. When you first join the game, you will be brutally murdered, no matter what lobby or scenario. However, when it is time for you to commit murder, everyone in the lobby will band together to make your first experience as a killer the worst they could possibly do. They will abuse you for purely entertainment reasons. And after your fumble, either you quit the game forever or never touch any game except die of death for the rest of the month. The grind never stops after all. There'll always be an Asian kid better than you and you'll do everything in your power to ruin that kid's childhood. And at the end, you'll become something that you never thought you'd become. An addict who haven't touched grass, water, or woman in weeks. Finally, when you reach the top, you'll realize that there's nothing to do anymore except for fall to the bottom again. And that's the video. Like and subscribe. If you want me to talk about or make videos on a certain topic or game that you want, comment down below. I'll go back to my 2-month coma. Bye.
Come get some, you frickin' wuss! Get some, you frickin' wuss!